Development Waiver Review Committee. If anyone has any cell phones or other mobile devices, if you could please turn those off or to silent right now, I would appreciate that. I will first begin by introducing the members of the Development Waiver Review Committee. I am Ann Lippman. I am the Community Development Director. To my far left is Frank Baker, the County Administrator. To my near right is Lori Ashmore, the Water System Director. To my immediate right, and I think I got my right and my left mixed up, sorry. To my right is Jason Phillips, our County Attorney, and to my far right is Bruce Coyle, the County Engineer. George Jones, our DOT Director, is on vacation this week and was not able to join us. I will begin with the first item on our agenda, and that is to review minutes from the May 21st, 2019 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review those? If there were no corrections or additions, do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Coyle. Is there any question or discussion about those minutes? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes from the May 21st, 2019 meeting are approved unanimously. Our second agenda item is to review the minutes from the May 29th, 2019 special called meeting. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at those? And if there are no corrections or additions, do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Ashmore. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second from Mr. Baker. Any questions about the minutes? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
We have 3, 4, and 1 against Mr. Coyle, who was not present at that meeting. We will move on to our regular agenda items. The first case is case number 2019-3-W, application by Quilusi Vineyards, Robert C. Gilbert, on approximately 40 acres for waiver of minimum fire flow requirements, development regulation 4.1.3.6 for agricultural operation. Property is located in land lots 39, 40, 105, and 106, District 3, Section 3, on a private road being the north side of Blossom Trail, west of Farm Street. The location is 70 Blossom Trail, portion formerly known as Lot 39 Flower Farm Subdivision, and is located in Post 4. My notes state that we have had one phone call with questions, and I will go ahead and say that staff met with Mr. Gilbert yesterday. There are some other issues with this case, and at this point, Mr. Gilbert, I'd like to offer you the opportunity if there's anything you'd like to add since our meeting yesterday.
No, not unless there's questions.
Okay, thank you. Based on that, is there a motion from anyone on the board? Or
I'll make a
committee?
motion to table until the next meeting.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Baker to table until our next meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to give it to Ms. Ashmore because she's closer to me. So we have a motion by Mr. Baker and a second from Ms. Ashmore to table this. Is there any questions or comments on the motion to table? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Our next case is 2019-4-W, application by Coal Lake LLC on approximately 30.126 acres for a waiver of the requirements to install a deceleration lane, which is Development Regulation 5.3.3, and the placement of curb and gutter, Development Regulation 5.9.1 for a proposed subdivision. Property is located in land lot 442, District 2, Section 3, south of West Avenue on the north side of Coal Lake Road. It's located in Post 2. We have had one phone call with questions. If the applicant is present, please come to the podium and state your name. And if you could please, this is really 2 requests, so if you could address each one of them, and then we'll ask questions, and then we'll move on to the next item.
Yes, my name is Russ Tibbetts, and I'm the developer of this subdivision right here, Coal Lake. And basically what it is 13 lots. The minimum size is 1 acre, and size up to 3. I have several 3-acre and a 5-acre lot as well. But I'm requesting for the decel lane to be shortened and to do away with the curb and gutter because of they're basically estate lots, and I just don't feel like that we need that because they are such large lots. So basically, that's what I'm requesting today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone who in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this request? If not, is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or comments? Okay, if there is no one, if anyone on the committee has any questions or comments, and like I said, this is technically two requests, so if we could start with the request about installing the deceleration lane. Are there any questions from the committee?
I'd like to hear from staff
Okay.
on it.
We have Ms. Dallard from the DOT department, if you would.
Hi, I'm Kathy Stallard. I'm here representing Paulding County DOT because George is on vacation this week. So basically, we've reviewed this development and we've, taken into account that it is a larger lot subdivision, that it's not your typical development where you've got, multiple small acre tracts, and we do want to take that into consideration. But at this point, we really do feel that it does need a deceleration lane. I'm not sure what you're proposing for a shortened deceleration lane, but that's definitely a workable solution, and I do agree, since it's in a more rural part of the county, that leaving off the curb and gutter is definitely going to be something that we could allow. So, if anybody's got any questions?
You have a recommended width of shoulder?
Was he asking for,
No,
typically for a rural road, we like to see a 6-foot shoulder with a ditch section. It just gives us the capability to maintain it properly, and it gives vehicles the ability to, if they have any issues running off the road, they can recover safely.
if we had an underground subdivision, one more shoulder, generally, power of 8 feet off.
An underground subdivision?
Yeah, underground power.
Oh, underground power. Yes, we've got a typical section that we require for that because it's got to allow for all the utilities, so we need at least a 50-foot right-of-way. But typically in the county road portion, the utilities are typically in the back 5 feet. It's just when you get into the subdivision itself, the utilities have a specific spot.
You recommend an 8-foot shoulder on those internal to the subdivision?
I think that's what they showed, was it not? They showed let's see here. Yeah, they showed a 7-foot shoulder for the internal road. That's what it looks like.
From what I understand, there's a good sight distance there. I
Um,
know it's a smooth curve, but pulling out. You've got it pre-graded, I had noticed that.
I don't remember a sight distance issue, but it's been a while since I've looked at it. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
I do have a question for the applicant. Are you requesting the deceleration lane be waived entirely or to be shortened? 'Cause I believe there's a little, at least I have that question, if
Yes.
you want it eliminated altogether or just shortened.
As far as the sight distance, we have, a lot of sight distance now. We've moved back the bank to where there's more than adequate sight distance for sure. And we're just asking a reduction of the decel lane. If I could ask Chuck Rand to speak on behalf
Certainly.
of me, because he knows all the widths and lengths.
I don't know if I know all the widths and the lengths. Let's see here, 219-04-2. Again, my name's Chuck Rand with this Engineering Group, working on the project with Mr. Tibbetts. This development was permitted, I believe, earlier this year, may have gotten started in the last year, but we went in with a permit for a 2-acre lot subdivision. 2-acre lot subdivision in Paulding County allows you to do a non-curb and guttered street, and it does have a shoulder. At that point in time, I believe we had a little bit of a wider pavement width on that road, which now when we go back with 1 acre, we'll probably pull that in to provide for a little bit more shoulder that Mr. Coyle is referring to. But when we originally went in on the 2-acre lots, we were looking for removal of the deceleration lane. And that's just staying in line with what's happened in the past. We've had several 2-acre lot subdivisions in the county where we do not have a decel lane. Maybe have a taper or something along those lines. And what drove us to the the waiver agenda this afternoon was after we had those plans approved, and it was originally approved for 9 2-acre and larger lots, with the construction of the decel and taper, and again, to obtain that sight distance on Coal Lake Road, and you can see where the dark spot is along Coal Lake Road. That's the hill we had to take out in order to establish adequate sight distance. We've had discussions with staff about, whether or not it could be a reduction, removal, or some modification in between. Again, it comes down to a cost issue with such a small number of lots, and that's why the applicant has come back before you with the 1-acre lots, adding 5 lots to offset some of that expense to make the project a little bit more in range with the original pricing for construction. So we're glad to hear that there's concurrence with the no curb and gutter. If there's anything we can work out on the reduction of the deceleration lane, if it's not the full removal, we're definitely up for that.
How much of the deceleration, how much of a reduction are you looking for?
Well, I think it was permitted with a 75-foot and a 50-foot taper. If that were to come back to whether it was of course, the optimal would be a 50-foot taper, or if it was more along the lines of a 50-foot decel, 25-foot taper, 50-foot taper, we would be amicable with that.
Are you willing to do a 30-foot radius on that edge of pavement?
We are, and that's when we were looking at it, and I believe what you see in front of you on the screen is a larger radius, and that may actually go out to, it's either 35 to 50. So, again, it acts in sense as a deceleration lane. Again, it's Coal Lake Road. It's not the busiest road in the county. It's busier than probably Holland Road, but again, we're not asking for anything that hasn't been allowed for in the past, but we're more willing to work with DOT on whatever solution we can come up with.
Okay, does anyone on the committee have any other questions?
Thank you.
Ms. Stallard, do you have any comments on the request to reduce the deceleration lane versus eliminate the deceleration lane?
Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you. I do agree that it is a smaller lot, so it sounds like it's been reduced from 13 lots to 5 lots. Is that correct? 13 lots still. Okay. Okay. So I do understand that it's a it's a restraint when you're trying to develop and you've got to have all these additional costs. So we are understanding of that, and we want to bring business to the county. So I do think we've got to have something to get vehicles off the road. I know it may not be on other developments, but we're trying to protect the county infrastructure as we have it today. And we did just recently pave this road, so it's in really good shape, and we'd like to keep it that way. So I think we can work with, like you suggested, a 50-foot length with a 50-foot taper. I think would be a great compromise for us.
Kathy, a question. You said a 50-foot decel with a
50-foot taper.
50-foot taper.
Because I think the speed is 35 on that road. Anything else? Any other questions?
Does anyone else on the committee have any questions for anyone? No one else has any questions. These are 2 separate requests, so I will ask if anyone has a motion they would like to make on the requested waiver on the deceleration lane.
I'll make a motion. We approve 50-foot with a minimum 30-foot radius on the keep trucks from running off the end on that I-77.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Coyle. I was gonna.
Okay, 35 foot, excuse me, let me correct.
Can you restate?
We waived the decel lane. But the decel lane to include a 50-foot taper and a 35-foot minimum edge of pavement radius. That'll be as wide as a truck.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Coyle. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Ashmore to make sure I'm wording this right, to reduce the deceleration lane to a 50-foot taper with a 35-foot radius? Okay. Is there any questions about that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion on the decel lane carries unanimously. The second request on this, do I have anyone who would like to make a motion about the placement of curb and gutter within the subdivision?
I'll make a motion, we accept the variance request with no curb and gutter, with a stipulation that no more than 13 permits will be issued.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Cole. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Baker to approve the request to waive the curb and gutter provided that no more than 13 building permits are issued. Are there any questions? We have a question.
I have a question only in that I had some conversation with George prior to his going on vacation. And he had some other things that we discussed, including there being no private easement streets off of the approved development, that any lot size reduction nullifies the waiver, that any changes to the layout of the subdivision will require the approval of the community development director, that the stormwater roadway surface drainage system must comply with the development regulations, and revising the proposed ditch section on Coal Lake Road to include an 8-foot shoulder rather than the 6-foot shoulder depicted on the plans.
Is the applicant agreeable to that? I see a lot of head nodding.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Littman, at this point in time, we got a motion and a second, so we would need either withdrawal of Mr. Coyle's motion or a motion to amend Mr. Coyle's motion to be in conformity with what was just stated. It would probably be easiest to withdraw the motion, to be honest.
I motion to withdraw my.
In that case, the motion is withdrawn.
Okay, that motion was withdrawn. Would anyone like to make another motion about the curb and gutter?
Since I have the notes in front of me,
Okay.
maybe that would be, I'll make a motion to approve the waiver of curb and gutter, subject to the following stipulations. That the number of approved lots being 13, that no additional building lots would be allowed for the subdivision, that no private easement streets off the approved development will be permitted, that any lot size reduction nullifies the waiver, that any changes to the layout of the subdivision will require the approval of the community development director, that the stormwater roadway surface drainage system will comply with all Paulding County development regulations, and that the final one is that we revise the proposed ditch section on Coal Lake Road to include an 8-foot shoulder versus a 6-foot shoulder shown.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Ashmore with 6 stipulations. As she just read, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second from Mr. Coyle. Is there any question on this motion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye if you're in favor. Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Motion is approved unanimously. So there are your 2 waivers. We will move on to our item number 5 on our agenda, which is 2019-10-VSB. This is located in the city of Hiram. It is application by Marvin E. Curley Family Homes LLC on approximately 0.75 of an acre for proposed stream buffer variance, development regulation section 12.5.1 with mitigation for product lot fit. Property is located in land lot 909, District 2, Section 3, southeast of Nebo Road on the south side of Gorham Gates Drive, is located in Post 3. And my notes show that we had 1 phone call with a question. Is the applicant present? or a representative.
Yeah, I'm Jonathan Talinis. I'm with the HRC engineers representing Curley Family Homes.
Okay.
So.
Like to tell us about your request, please.
Yes, so lot 16 in Gorham Gates, which I don't know what plan you all have in front of you. Can I set this? Okay, all right, sure. So this shows the specific lot. Evidently, this house was constructed on the incorrect lot, and so it is inside of the stream buffer rather than outside where it was originally intended on the other lot. So after conversation with Mr. Coyle, I believe that he found it amenable to provide dry wells to offset the additional disturbed area that we were creating in the buffers as a development of this lot.
Does anybody on the committee have any questions?
My understanding is the good soils for septic on this particular lot were closer to the street, and that mandated this house be built down there near the stream above.
Okay.
Is that correct?
I believe so. Mr. Aaron McCullough, who was, I believe, had that conversation with you, is out of town today. So,
Drawing demonstrates.
yes.
Does anyone else have any questions? If not, thank you, sir. You may have a seat. Is there anyone else present in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this waiver request? If there was no one, is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or comments? If not, we will close this portion of the hearing. Is there anyone who would like to make, before I do that, this is in the city of Hiram, and Darren Allen from the city of Hiram is here. Just want to give you the opportunity, if there's anything you'd like to state, please come to the podium.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. My name is Darren Allen. I am zoning administrator for the city of Hiram. The only comment we would have is that the dry wells that are proposed, are they of adequate size? I know it's supposed to be for a 1-year rain event. Our question was, is that an acceptable alternative to what they've got?
I think the engineers still do turn in calculations. I have not seen any calculations on the driveways. A drawing, we got the drawing with the driveways, I'll look at it.
Are you able to respond to Mr. Allen's question?
It appears on the calculation that he's almost doubling the required water quality bump.
If that's,
I
that's,
would say that would be
if it's acceptable with the county engineer, we're acceptable with it.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no other questions, is anyone prepared to make a motion on case number 2019-10-VSB?
Motion to approve Grant's application.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Mr. Coyle. Do I have a second?
Second.
And we have a second from Mr. Baker. Is there any questions about this motion and second? If not, all those in favor, please state your favor by saying aye. Sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 6, it is case number 2019-11-VSB, application by Piedmont Residential, Ryan Bobbitt on approximately 0.18 of an acre for proposed stream buffer variance, development regulation section 12.5.1, with mitigation for product lot fit for lot 193 of the Park at Cedar Crest subdivision, Property is located in land lot 610, District 3, Section 3, north of Old Dallas Ackworth Road North, on the south side of Laurel Crest Lane, located at 310 Laurel Crest Lane. It is located in Post 4, and we have received no calls about this case. Is the applicant present?
I'm Ryan Bobbitt. I'm
Okay.
the construction manager for Piedmont Residential, and with me is Vincent Chambers. He's going to present our case here.
With your permission. Thank you very much, Madam Chairman and members of the board. This is a request for a waiver, a variance on the setback for the impervious surface. This particular lot, as you know, waivers are available for properties that are affected by either size, shape, and/or topography. And I explained to Mr. Babbitt after I saw this and even found out even more about it, that I don't think in all my years of dealing this kind of stuff, this one have seen one affected by so much as this one is. I've tried to color code it a little bit. They're asking for an encroachment into the orange area of the impervious surface buffer. It's approximately 9.5 feet encroachment, resulting in a total of 150 square feet. In mediation of that, they're adding what you see here is the green area located in the bottom right-hand side, which is a total of an additional 300 square feet of additional impervious surface area. This property is affected, on the rear side, you'll see basically a bank of about 14-foot climb over 2 feet sections. So it's a pretty steep bank. In order to move this building back into the property to get it away from the impervious surface buffer, it will encroach into that bank, which would require additional grading there. Plus, this particular neighborhood has a uniform type of house. This is the smallest product that they have that they've shown on here. And it also has a uniform setback and/or streetscape, if you will. In order to move this away from the spring bank buffer, it would be approximately 45 feet behind the roadway, thereby blocked by the other buildings and other houses. Located on just to the left, very hard to see, and I've tried to show it here in kind of a pink color, is a 20-foot drainage easement that runs down the side of where the house footprint would be and then circles back around. And also, after I got here today, I found out what this was. This little area here looks kind of like a medallion, is actually a drop inlet for water runoff. And it drains behind the house, which is shown here as an S, and it also drains toward the driveway or toward the road, which is also shown there as an S. So this one on 0.18 acres is complicated by a number of different things that prevent the buildability of this particular lot. We would appreciate your consideration of this and also respectfully ask you to grant the variance and add the additional impervious surface.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does anybody on the committee have any questions for the applicant and their representative?
And we do have the engineer here if you need to.
I have a question. Your mitigation extends to the property to the east.
To the east. Oops. Yes, ma'am. It's the green area.
The green area extends off of this property and onto the adjacent property. Is that a buildable, is that part of your development? Is it a buildable lot?
It's not a buildable lot.
How is it affected?
It's not a buildable lot. It's part of the development into Phase 3.
And you can see it attaches to the stream bank buffer here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really no buildable
Okay.
properties there.
You anticipate that being open space in the future?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, are there any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or comments about this application? Okay, if there is no one else, I will close the public portion of this hearing. Is anyone on the committee prepared to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Mr. Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Ashmore. Are there any questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries unanimously. The waiver is granted. Item number 7 on our agenda today is 2019-12-VSP, application by Perrin Homes, Kendall King, on approximately 32.48 acres for a proposed stream buffer variance. It's Development Regulations Section 12.5.1 with mitigation for product lot fit for Oakley Point Phase 3. Property is located in land lots 1,119, 1,186, 1,191, and 1,192, District 3, Section 3, south of Ashbury Circle, west of Aspen Valley Lane. It is located in Post 1. We have received 4 phone calls with questions and 1 phone call with concerns. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello. Kendall King is actually not here today. I'm Whit Porter. I'm representing Perrin Homes. I also am with Stuart Wiggins, who is with Evergreen Development and Real Estate Services, and Kelly Davis, who's with Gaskin Surveying and Engineering. They'll be able to answer any development or engineering related questions that I may not know the answer to. I would like to request to combine the 2 agenda items together because they are connected subdivisions, Oakley Point and Pickett's Ridge. Would that be okay with you all?
So just keep them separate. Since they're 2 different cases, we will have to take them separately.
Okay, sounds good. I'll start with Oakley Point then. So I'm here today to request a stream buffer variance in Oakley Point. It's right off Due West Road and between Mount Tabor Church Road and Hiram Ackworth Highway. Oakley Point was designed and constructed over 15 years ago, but a final plat in Phase 3 was never obtained due to the financial recession. Since then, we've obtained final plat in Phase 1 and Phase 2, and we're working diligently to get final plat in Phase 3. When the original LDP was issued, the county required a 40-foot undisturbed buffer on streams, which was provided at the time. But now, as you know, the requirements are a 70-foot impervious setback and a 50-foot undisturbed buffer. That's the current county standard now. And due to this change, 17 lots in Oakley Point Phase 3 are affected. Since the roads and utilities are already in place in Phase 3, these lots would effectively become infeasible with the new buffer requirements. And so losing these lots would obviously be a financial burden to Perrin, but it also would lead to negatively impacting county taxes with new homeowners coming in the future. I'm here today to formally request Paulding County to consider the approval of a stream buffer variance that provides for an averaging. It's depicted in the site plan that I presented to you all a few weeks ago. I have it with me here if you all would like to see it. The proposed buffer averaging encroaches on both the 50-foot undisturbed buffer and the 75-foot impervious setback in various locations across Oakley Point Phase 3, but it provides additional undisturbed buffer that offsets cumulative encroachments. In other words, we're swapping impervious setback for undisturbed buffer. I say that we're averaging them out, but we are actually replacing buffer at a 1.51 to 1 ratio in Oakley Point Phase 3. So effectively, we are adding more buffer than we're taking away. I'd also like to add the fact that undisturbed buffers provide better water quality, than impervious setbacks. So we effectively would be increasing the water quality for the streams in question. Thank you for hearing me today, and I'll try to answer any questions that you all have.
Okay, does anybody on the committee have any questions for Mr. Porter?
I have a question about, without this buffer variance,
Yes.
what does that do to the buildability of those lots?
So it doesn't necessarily make all the lots unbuildable, but it either makes them unbuildable or we will have to reduce the square footage in houses, which we don't want to do. We want to keep our range from 2,700 to 3,300 square feet and keep the pricing at that point. So if at all possible, we would like to have the proposed buffer variance approved by you all if possible.
Can you tell me how many lots are affected by the?
Yeah, so it's
Buffer?
17 lots in Oakley Point Phase 3.
Okay.
Here, I'll pass this around to you all if you would like to see it. The green is what we are.
We have a copy.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're right. Yeah. We have a copy of that. Thank you, though. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this application? Okay, if there's no one else to speak in favor, is anyone who would like to speak in opposition or ask questions or comments? Please approach the lectern. And if you could, there's a sign-in sheet, so if you could please sign your name and then state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Chiquita Kamara. Thank you guys for sending the notes, and this is my husband, Pastor Emmanuel Kamara, and we live in Oakley Point.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, you just heard from my wife. My name is Pastor Emmanuel Kamara. So we are residents from the Oakley Point. We live in 150 Aspen Valley Lane, and that is in Dallas. The zip code is 30157. So we are here because we are concerned about some of the development that is going on, and especially now they are making the transition to move to phase 3. And I have pictures showing that, then part of some of the things that he was discussing. So one of the problems that we have is that it's a drainage issue with the building that the construction that they are making. They have very poor drainage, and so when it rains, it's really actually affecting us. And being that we are between the ladder of phase 2 and then now the beginning of phase 3, so we have water coming down from phase 3, we have water coming from phase 2, and then all those water are settling down before our house.
We have them here.
Then I also have videos. If we have, if we have email, we can also send out the videos. Okay, and also this, so you can show it to them once.
So that the water drainage is one concern that we have with current homes, and we were wondering when are they planning on paving the whole road, so that way we'll not be continually being affected with that, because every time it rains and pours, we have a pool of river in front of our driveway. So we need to know when is the road gonna be paved. That's one.
Yeah, then also before, what they used to do before was that after it rains, they know that there's going to be a lot of mud left behind, especially when we have kids. There are times that the kids went out to play because they play in front. And so if they slip or they fall or somebody's walking, people walk through that side to go to the dog park because the dog park is right behind our side. So if somebody's walking through that side and they slip and they fall, it's going to be on us. And so these are the reasons why we are raising this concern to be able to see, and it's affecting us also and our children. And so that is one of the issues. And so before, when it rains, they will send the laborers, they will come, and then from there they will shovel out all the muds and everything and then pull it to the side. So this way it will be drivable while the construction is going on until after they finish. But now it's not happening. They've stopped doing that. And yes, on the other
And
side.
my other concern that I have is that when we were building a property, we asked about because our house is on the edge of the slope or the drainage that is there, right at the edge there, and we asked them about retaining wall, and they're like, well, it won't be affected by it. There is no need for it. But my concern now is that a house that is on a level ground, they had a retaining wall, but ours that is on the slope, they didn't provide any retaining wall, and nobody advised us as to how we could get one until when we see them building the retaining wall. We're like, how come they didn't build that on an area that is much needed for work?
And in addition to that, with what the gentleman just stated earlier on, what he said that there are some of the lands they have to reduce the amount of lots that they have because it requires them extra work to do other things. And I believe this is one of the things that whereby we're affected, because if you see the land that we have, what they do is that they reduce it and then put it in. So this way they will avoid putting the retaining walls, telling us that this is where your land stops. And so now we have a very little space, and behind it, just right after it, is the place whereby they're supposed to put the retaining wall. They say, no, we can't do that because why? Your land only stops here and we can't do anything here. So this is what what he was just mentioning, that they have to reduce certain things so that they will avoid spending money on doing other things, and that's not fair to us.
So, those are just some of our concerns. We want to know when are they going to pave the remainder of the road to ease the water drainage, and what's going to happen with the slopement of the property. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I think on the street train, there's a temporary, what they call log.
I could barely hear you.
That'll ultimately be removed, probably should be removed by the water. Your retaining wall request, if you've taken that up with parent homes and had any discussion with your
Yes.
We have,
We told them and we explained to them, so the excuse that they gave us, they told us that your land only stops right here. But before they start the building, and this was something that we had pre-discussed before the building went on, but what they did is that the realtor that was there and the builder that was there, they let go of both of them. So they are no longer there, because those are the people that when the thing started, we talked to them and they told us that they were going to have retaining wall on that side. But now, after they finished, they say, oh no, the land only stopped right here. So we can do, you don't have to worry about nothing on this side. And if you see, we also have pictures whereby they just put some of these, it's like becoming a dumpster now. All of the other trees and all that. I don't know if my wife, I think you guys should have it over there.
no,
So we have a picture
Your
of
specific address is?
150.
150.
We are at the end of the phase 2. So my question
Yes.
is, before they move on to phase 3, why not address some of these concerns first?
This is sort of beyond the scope of what they're asking for. They're not asking, they're not encroaching on yours at all. But we'll look into the drainage, get that approved into the drainage and the slope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And sir, ma'am, just to clarify what the county engineer just said, the purpose of today's proceedings is whether or not a stream buffer variance is going to be granted. They've requested a variance. The issues that you raise are clearly valid issues, clearly concerns that you may have with your builder, maybe in regard to some of the county ordinances. But just so we're clear, the purpose for the hearing today is whether or not certain lots will be allowed to be constructed into a stream buffer.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or comments? And if you would like to provide any responses to their comments,
Yes.
please.
I'd just like to say for the record, I'd like to meet you all afterwards. And for the phase that you are in, we'll be topping the roads when I think it's 75% CO'd. I need to double check that. As far as the drainage issue, I will get with you and try my best to solve that issue. And the same with the retaining wall as well. And I need a little bit of clarification with you, but I'd be happy to meet with you afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that is the end of the public comment portion of this waiver request. Is anyone on the committee prepared to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Ms. Ashmore and a second from Mr. Coyle. Is there any questions among the committee? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay. There are none. The motion carries unanimously. The waiver has been requested. We have now arrived at our last agenda item today, which is 2019-13-VSP. Application by Parent Homes and Kendall King on approximately 51.16 acres for proposed stream buffer variance, development regulation section 12.5.1 with mitigation for product fit for Pickett's Ridge subdivision. Property is located in land lot 1191, 1192, 1193, 1256, and 1257, District 3, Section 3, south of Due West Road, west of Chastain Drive, located in Post 1. We had one office visit and 3 phone calls with questions on this application. If the applicant would like to step forward.
Back so soon. So Pickett's Ridge, it's the same problem that we were facing in Oakley Point Phase 3. And our solution to that, well, the change in impervious setback and undisturbed buffer, it is affecting 25 lots in Pickett's Ridge versus the 17 in Oakley Point Phase 3. And as I said before, we will be doing an averaging where we will be encroaching on some of the 50-foot undisturbed buffer and some of the 75 impervious setback, but we will be adding more undisturbed buffer than we are taking away. We are actually replacing buffer at a 1.29 to 1 ratio in Pickett's Ridge versus the 1.5 to 1 ratio in Oakley Points. And like I said before, undisturbed buffer provides more water quality for the streams in question than impervious setbacks. So we'll actually be improving the water quality for those streams. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition or has questions or comments? If not, are there any questions from the committee? And if there are no questions by the committee, is anyone prepared to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Ms. Ashmore. Any questions about this one? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? I believe we have none, and this motion is also approved unanimously. That was our last case for today. I believe, Braden, we do not have any applications for next month other than the item that was forwarded. So there will only be one agenda item in July. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everyone.